Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review. Now it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I last did a Brewdog beer review for you, about 20 videos or something like that. It's a bit of a sin because they are very close to me in Aberdeen where I study. But today I have for you the Mixtape 8, which is one of their limited edition beers. It's only been very recently released along with the, the Unleash the Yeast series and the Hello My Name is Sonia. It was released in that group, and it's also the first Brewdog beer I've had that comes in one of these sort of gift box things, which is quite cool as well, so I'll just bring that up for the video as well. But as is usual with my beer reviews, I'll just take you through a little bit of a history of the Brewdog Brewery. I've done a number of Brewdog reviews before, so I'll put the video links for those in the description for you and you can have a look if you are interested. But I'll keep the history a bit brief this time and talk a little bit more about the current events that are going on at the brewery, so that's quite interesting for you. But as is usual with my beer, if you are simply interested in the tasting of this beer, then feel free to go forward to the last section of the video and you will catch that particular segment. But as I mentioned in the other videos, Brewdog are one of the really cool Scottish craft breweries. They're very experimental. They use a lot of different hops, malts and ingredients in their beer, so they're really cool. You'll always get something different from them, and they're largely inspired by the sort of American craft breweries as well. They draw huge inspiration from these, so as I say, you're going to get something pretty good out of them. But they were only founded back in 2007 by James Watt and Martin Dickey, both of whom were only 24 years old at the time, and their first brewery was at the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeast of Scotland. For those of you watching from outside of the country, I always describe it as looking a bit like a monster's head, and Fraserburgh is right on the sort of nose of the monster, if you like, right in the northeastern corner of the country. But they have a new brewing facility down in Ellon, a really highly modern thing, and they're also building a visitor centre apparently, so soon you'll be able to go and visit them and get tours of the brewery and stuff like that, which would obviously be quite cool. But they have this brand new facility, but the Fraserburgh facility remains as their beer lab, and I believe they also brew some of the very high strength stuff there. Now, high strength beer is something that Brewdog are actually very famous for. They have their Tokyo beer, which is an 18% one. This is a member of their core range, but there was a big media storm in Scotland when this beer was first released. Scotland has quite a bad reputation of binge drinking and things like that, and a lot of the media branded Brewdog is irresponsible for making an 18% beer, but they didn't care. They just kept going on with it as you would hope they would do. They produce some very good stuff, but they're also known, as I say, very well known for these high strength beers. They have the 32% Tactical Nuclear Penguin, the 41% Sink the Bismarck, and the 55% End of History, and these were basically produced due to the ongoing competition they were having with Schwarzbrau from Germany for the title of World's Strongest Beer. But I believe this is actually held by another Scottish brewery called Brewmeister, who are along the road in Keith. I think that's still Aberdeenshire, but as I say, this is held by Brewmeister in Keith, who have their Armageddon beer at 60%. I'll need to try and get that for you at some point and review it. But they've also got a number of brew pubs. The first one opened in 2010 in Aberdeen, and they expanded into Edinburgh and Glasgow the following year, and they have a number of these now that are in England. You've got Manchester, Nottingham, Newcastle, Bristol, and a number of these in London as well now. But you can find these pretty easily. There's all over the place, as I say. I think they're on number 13 now with the brew pubs, but they're actually the largest independently owned brewery in Scotland, and they produce about 120,000 bottles of beer per month for export all across the world, all throughout Europe, the Far East, Australia, North America. I believe you can actually get these in South America now as well, but I'm not certain about that. But anyway, to move on to some of the more recent events of the brewery. Very recently they've actually signed an exclusive tap beer deal with the Stone Brewery from the US. This is one of James and Martin's favourite craft breweries where they draw a lot of inspiration from apparently. But from the 7th of December you'll be able to get 4 exclusive beers on tap from the Brewdog brew pub, so go in there and check these out. I'll be doing that because it's my birthday soon, so I can treat myself to that. I've got an excuse to go and drink the beer now. But they also have their new brew pub in Shepherd's Bush in London opening today. That's the 30th of November I'm filming this one. But they're also about to release some new beers as well, and they're going to introduce 4 new ones that will come for a limited time period, and during that time you can vote for which one is your favourite, and this will become a permanent brew. And these ones are called the Armory, which is a black lager, the Hobo Pop, which is an American wheat ale with some rye in it. There's Interstellar, which is a red rye IPA, and they also have the Brixton Porter. Apparently they were going to open up a brew pub in Brixton, and this beer was going to go along with the opening of that, but they decided to brew the beer anyway, even though the deal fell through. And they're also going to introduce a salt caramel popcorn beer, and I think these are going to be, they said that these would be released on cask and bottle in very early December, so just a few days to go with these indeed. But they've also released 2 Christmas beers recently as well, Santa Paws, which is a Scotch ale, and the Hoppy Christmas, which is a Simcoe IPA. and I have both of these actually, so I'll be reviewing these in the next couple of weeks for you. I'm quite looking forward to trying those actually. It'll be my first sort of Scottish Scotch ale review that I'll be doing for you if you like. But anyway, let's move on to actually looking at this beer itself. As is usual, I'll read out the blurb on this one for you. It says, Mixtape 8 is a high octane blend of styles, influences and processes. This beer is a blend of two huge oaked aged India Pale Ales. Half of this beer is rooted in an amped up, hopped up Belgian triple, which has been aged in single grain Scottish whisky casks for almost 2 years. The other half of the equation is a triple India Pale Ale, which has also been aged in Scotch whisky barrels for close to 2 years. This beer is inspired by the Belgian monastic brewing tradition and its centuries of heritage, the hopped up American new wave craft brewing, and everything that rocks about Scottish whisky barrels and oak aging. Our resident artist and longtime friend Johanna Basford hand drew the artwork for this beer, making the packaging as unique and billowing as the bottle's content. So this one looks quite cool. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one as well. The hand drawing, as I say, is quite cool. Maybe it's better to show you on the bottle actually, because I can kind of roll it round, but it basically shows you a robot up there controlling the brewing line, a sort of bottling and brewing line. It's actually like really cool. I'm definitely going to keep this bottle. It's a really sort of cool artwork on this one. The Brewdog, it's the standard Brewdog cap that's on this one for those of you who want to see. It's one of the black ones, the black and gold dogs, which I believe they tend to put on their special editions and their sort of higher percentage beers, so it's quite cool in that way. But as you can see, really cool little artwork on this one with the robot controlling the thing. I'll bring up the box actually and just let you have a look at that as well. Maybe better to let you see. I'll hold it back here and you can see, but they actually have an image on their website of the thing sort of laid out, so I'll put the link for that in as well, so you can just see this thing sort of flattened out. As you can see on the back, there's the blurb of the one. It doesn't have it on the bottle, which is usual with them this time. There's a little boombox on the top there as well, or I think it looks like a boombox. I'm sure it might. Don't know if it's robot face or something, but it looks more like a boombox anyway. But yeah, let's get this guy open and get on with the tasting of this beer. Then I'll just put this down here for the moment while I open up the beer. But as I say, this is a limited release one. It was released along with Hello, My Name is Sonia and the Unleash the Yeast series. I have both of these that I'll review for you at a later date. And actually, I'm forgetting as well, this was the Shipwrecked Circus was released in this lot as well. But it's a 14.5% beer. It's, as they mentioned on the blurb, it's a blend of a Belgian triple and a triple IPA, both of which are aged in the oak cask. Maybe been inspired a little bit by Innocent Gun here. But apparently, I was reading something about Innocent Gun recently. They're going to release a couple of new beers in a wee while, so I'll get those for you and review them at a later date for you as well. But let's get this guy open just now as well. Okay. So let's just get this guy poured out. As I say, I'm looking forward to reviewing this one for you. I can smell it already. It's got a really beautiful smell to it. Just swirl up the last little bit, get a little bit of head on it for you. Not very much head on this one anyway, but yeah, let's get this guy out. Let's get this guy tasted. I'll bring that back up and just sit it there. But as you can see, it's a really sort of beautiful kind of red. It's actually a lot more red than I was thinking. It's a kind of chestnutty copper colour, really nice, very clear. I'll hold it up to the light. It's actually, if I look through it, it actually has a sort of kind of wineish colour to it, but I would describe it more as coppery and chestnut. There's not very much of a head on this one. It's kind of faded quite well. I don't know if that was my pouring, of course, but it's a sort of, the bubbles that are there are a sort of off-white colour, I would say. There is just a little bit of carbonation kind of streaming up from the bottom. Not very much is visible, but it's all very small bubbles, so I wouldn't expect this to have too much in the way of carbonation on the feel. The aroma on this one, now the brewmaster apparently described this one as being very complex, so I'm sure the aroma will be the same. But yeah, it smells very malty. A lot of caramel and toffee and kind of brown sugars in there. You can actually smell the sort of wood aging. It's got a little bit of that Innocent Gun feel about it, the aroma of this one. It's actually quite unusual for the Brewdog beers to have such a malty aroma. Usually you get a good bit of hop blast from them. They quite like their hop forward beers. But yeah, you can smell it's very sort of brown sugary caramels and toffees. There is quite a lot of fruit in it as well though. There's a lot of sort of dark fruits, maybe sort of berries, I would say. There is a little bit of a kind of tropical thing, maybe sort of peaches a little bit in there. It smells quite a lot like that. It's a really nice smelling beer. Really beautiful aroma. I've never quite smelt one that's had something this complex to it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to tasting this. But you can pick up, it's the sort of brown sugary malts, the caramel and toffee. There's a lot of fruit in there. There is a little hint of citrus, but you are getting a lot of resin as well, actually, the kind of pine resin that you would expect. But yeah, citrusy pine resin, some kind of very sort of dark berries. Maybe it's more a dried fruit smell, actually, like raisins and stuff like that, the sort of berries and things. Really, really nice smell, man. And you're also getting that sort of woody element to it as well. As they say, you would obviously expect that with the aging. But let's give this guy a taste. Yeah, that is beautiful. That is really, really nice. Yeah, very, very malty to start with, and it's actually a very, very sweet beer. There's a lot of caramel and toffee in there. Some nutty notes as well, actually, but you're getting a lot of the fruit as well. The taste I'm kind of getting from the fruit are probably, there's a lot of berries, maybe raisins and stuff. It's quite a dried sort of fruit taste to this, but there's also a bit of the tropical fruit in it. I'm kind of getting some maybe sort of peaches and things like that. Peaches, apricots maybe. I'm not very good at detecting the different fruits themselves, but you're getting that sort of tropical fruit element to it as well. But there's a lot of dark fruits there too, a lot of berries and things like that. Really beautiful beer, but there's the citrus elements as well. You can taste the aging in this one. It's just in the background, but it complements the other flavours really, really well. You are getting that sort of nice vanilla-y flavours that you get from oak aging the beer. Really, really nice. But yeah, lots of caramel flavours, toffee flavours, the kind of brown sugar effect that you're getting there. And there's a lot, as I say, there is maybe a bit of a nutty element to it as well. And you've got that sort of nice woody vanilla backbone that you would expect with the aging process of the beer. The fruit flavours in it are really complex as well. As I say, you're getting berries, sort of apricots and peaches, that sort of thing. There is a little tropical element to it as well, but you're also there. I think there is some citrus in there too. I mean, this is a really, really complex beer, as the brewmaster said. You'll probably detect different things in this from me, but I think very, very malty flavour, and it's quite unusual actually for Brewdog to have such a malty beer. A lot of their beers that I've had in my experience have been quite hoppy, sort of fruity, hoppy blasts and things like that. So this is quite nice to actually try it like this. As I say, you're getting some pine resin and woody effects in it as well, just from the sort of oak aging that you would expect. Apparently it's got some, I think maybe some resin or molasses as well. I'm not quite sure. It's quite, as I say, it's quite syrupy on the mouthfeel. It's definitely full bodied. It's quite syrupy actually. The carbonation isn't very prominent at all, which is what you said. This is a sipping beer. It's a really, really nice one. With it being 14.5% as well, you are getting some of that alcohol burn, but I'm feeling it now that I've taken a few sips. It's not quite as prominent as it was when I first took it. As I say, very sort of full-bodied, syrupy. The carbonation isn't so prominent. Definitely a sipping beer. It's actually got a bit of a dry feel to it throughout, but this is a beautiful beer. Honestly, if you get the chance, it's a limited edition. Definitely pick this up and try it. It's really beautiful. But yeah, a very malty beer. It's a very complex one. You've got a lot of the nice malts in there, the brown sugar malts. It has that nice sort of woody vanilla backbone to it. You're picking up the fruit flavours are very, very complex as well. As I say, it's a syrupy beer. It's a sipping beer. Really, really beautiful one. I highly recommend that you try this. Really, really beautiful one. Very complex as well, and it's limited edition, so you're not going to get it for long, but I highly recommend you try it. And I hope this beer review has been informative for you. I've really enjoyed doing this one. I'm going to go away and sip on the rest of this one. It's really, honestly, this is one of the best beer reviews I've done so far actually, and I think this might actually be the strongest beer I've done as well. I don't think I've done one. This is 14.5%, as I say. I think this is the strongest beer review I've done to date, so this is quite an interesting one as well. My first really, really strong beer. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. I hope it's been informative for you. As I say, I've really enjoyed this one. I highly recommend that you pick it up, and if you've not heard of Brewdog, you know, where have you been? But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I really enjoy doing these for you, so it's always good. And if you've tried this beer yourself, please let me know in the comment section your own thoughts on it. As I say, it'll be interesting to hear, particularly for this one, because it's very, very complex. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. But I'll catch you soon, and thanks for watching. Cheers.